Okay, I'm back. I don't want to redo the video because then sometimes it's really hard when you come upon it and say, okay, this has already been highlighted. What is she talking about? So I'm picking up here. If you want to get a kidney, typically I get a beef kidney. Okay, so you can get beef or you can get calf. It's up to you. And all you have to do is take the kidney and cut it in half. And then when you open it up, you will see all these structures inside. That's up to you if you want to do that, okay? But you will, why am I saying that? Because you will see all of these renal pyramids, okay? Now the renal pyramids have these stripes in them and they're striated, all right? So the renal pyramid is in the medulla, okay? I'm just gonna get out another thing here, and there's a purpose, there's a reason I'm telling you about the medulla versus everything else. Now, in here, we'll look at this little bit of fat. If you should see a kidney, you will see that there's white. It's not blue, okay? But there are these different parts of the kidney, like right in here, where we would see that there's fat, okay? So just so that you know, your kidney does have a fatty layer to it. And so now I'm going to take you back through here where it gets a little bit more complicated. So we have these, and they're not cells. The kidney is made up of many, many different cells. But a nephron is a structural and functional unit of a kidney. So I'm going to show you how the nephron dips down. So what is the nephron? It is not a cell, guys, okay? It's a combination of many, many cells, and they work together. So it's unlike, you know how we usually say like cells make up tissues? We can't say that in this case because the kidney has its own tissues. So it's unlike anything else that we have in our body, as far as we know, right? So the nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. In other words, it takes a whole bunch of cells to make a nephron, but the nephron is really what does all the work in the kidney, okay? So without getting into it too much, you've got a section here. You don't have to draw this out, okay? You're gonna have more than enough drawing of the nephron. And then what happens is the blood filters into this first section, which is the Bowman's capsule, and then it does this curly little thing here and goes down, dips down, and it comes back up. And then you have collecting ducts, okay? So there are collecting ducts. The collecting duct makes urine. That's where your urine is, okay? So this is your nephron in short. Don't want to take a lot of time on a Friday. Why am I telling you this? Because part of the nephron is in the cortex and part of it is in the medulla, okay? And so that's what my job is today for you. So blood goes in here to this thing called a Bowman's capsule. Don't worry, you're gonna have lots of education on that in the next couple days. Then there's a proximal convoluted tubule. Convoluted means curly and distorted. And then this loop of Henle dips down into the medulla, okay? And so why am I showing you that? Because it's in this diagram and you should understand that part of the nephron is in the cortex and part is in the medulla. So what you need to know is this medulla is very, very salty, okay? The kidney makes the medulla very salty. And the actual part of the kidney that makes it salty is the nephron. And so when you look at this diagram, you will see that if we're in the cortex, okay, we're going to be seeing the top part of the kidney. And then when we dip down into the medulla and these renal pyramids, we're going to be seeing the loop of Henle, okay? So the loop of Henle goes down into the pyramids. And when you're looking at the kidney, I wish I could tell you these stripes are evidence, or they're actually the loop of Henle, because that would be so cool. But you don't see that, okay? You're not actually going to see that. You would need a microscope to see that. And I think I'm almost done here. So I'm going to indicate urine and the major calyces in yellow, all right? And so you get these sections here. So the loop of Henle, okay, is dipping down, and then also we're going to get the collecting ducts, okay? And the collecting ducts are associated with more than one nephron, so we could have another nephron curling into this, okay? The collecting ducts are making urine, and so the collecting ducts are going to end up back in that medulla, and they're going to end up in this area, okay, called major calyces, and in the major calyces, that's where we're going to have urine formation. So if we look into here, okay, we have urine in this area. And that's because the collecting ducts are reaching back down. And the urine will then go through the ureter into the bladder. Okay? And so the bladder holds the urine until the stretch receptors in the bladder say, we just can't hold this anymore. Okay, so you've got stretch receptors. And I think that's in the note I've asked you to read. Whoops, sorry. Stretch receptors, and this is why Khan Academy is better, because they can do a better job erasing too. Stretch receptors say, okay, I can't hold off anymore. And then from the bladder, the urine goes through the urethra. Urethra. I'm saying that just so I know how to spell it too. Okay, so it goes kidney, ureter, bladder, urethra. All right, and that's the quick version of the kidney. I hope that that's done you some justice. There's things I'm leaving out, obviously, because we don't have enough time. Okay, the only thing I want to tell you is the renal capsule. This covering, this hard outer covering on the kidney, what you'd actually picture when you picture a kidney, is called the renal capsule. Okay, and minor calyces are just where the urine starts to collect and they drain into the major calyces. All right, so the minor calyces, I'll put in pink, just so that you guys have the same education, hopefully, as the people did last semester. Okay, so your minor calyces are in pink. They collect urine from one renal pyramid, and then it drains into the major calyces. So your minor calyces will be in here. Okay, they're just areas where you're going to see there's some drainage, and we could say that they're in here, and in here. Okay, and then it drains into that major tube. All right, have a great weekend.